Talking about the new Pokemon? Yeah, I had a whole, like, at least 40-minute rant about it and how I was disappointed in the game for basically, I'll sum it up very quickly for you guys, for those who don't know. But I'm a huge Pokemon fan, and I was very disappointed because it seems like since Sword and Shield, Pokemon games as a whole have basically not have kept the same quality as their previous installments. It feels like the games aren't getting the same love as like other games in under the same umbrella as the company, like Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart World, even the new Donkey Kong game, you know. And then you play Legends ZA, and it's a small world. There's not much to explore. There's a bunch of reused textures and PNGs. It's basically inexcusable. And I was talking about how in the same city you can actually enter more buildings in the 3DS version of the game that came out like 13 years ago, and you can enter more buildings, you can talk to more people, and I was very unamused. Sure, the graphics in that game, they have grass and their trees look nice, but what's to explore? And I watched several streams of people walking around, and I was bored within 10 minutes because I like the idea of like Pokemon being like more of an open world, like Scarlet and Violet. I really like that. I did think that Scarlet and Violet world was bland and boring. They could do a lot better with making it more explorable, having secret things around the map a little bit better, but I thought Scarlet and Violet was okay. It was still a downgrade from like the 3DS era of Pokemon, and it just keeps going down the drain with Pokemon. They just don't try. And I said this, like, I was like, Game Freak just doesn't know how to, either A, doesn't know how to make games, or has no passion for the stuff they create. And someone showed me one of the games that they have made, and it looks a lot better, and I'm wondering why they aren't putting that kind of effort in Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon should be fairly easy. It's copy paste for Pokemon, but instead of copying pasting, you can copy paste and add a thing. Like, I feel like that's some of like the easiest things to do for a Pokemon game. Especially because I'm like one of the people that really loved like Black 2, White 2, Pokemon 5, I think it's with Yveltal and Xerneas, and then I liked that generation, and then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I thought that was the pinnacle of Pokemon. The only thing that didn't make those Pokemon games amazing is because you couldn't have your Pokemon fall behind you. But you could pet them, you could feed them, you could, you know, interact with them in ways that you literally can't now. It was just like, and it's like, I was wondering, is the 3DS more powerful than the Switch? And if it is, why did we get a downgrade console? Because it feels like most of the Switch games I am not enjoying as much as the DS games. And sure, you could be like, oh, but Breath of the Wild, that's the one everybody jumps to. They're like, Breath of the Wild, that's the Switch argument. Breath of the Wild, it's so good. It's the greatest game ever made by mankind. I thought Breath of the Wild was boring. I got more enjoyment and played Genshin Impact longer than I played Breath of the Wild, and people said Genshin Impact was a Breath of the Wild ripoff. So, like, you just wanted big Mega Mawile. Mega Mawile already existed. I'd rather have, yeah, like if like Mawile was like Gigantamax, that'd be pretty cool, like a Gigantamax form, but they don't do Gigantamax. That, and even comparing it to their first installment of Legend of Arceus, which should be the base set line since this is a Legends game, Legends ZA is drastically underwhelming compared to the first installment, and it's basically like Shrek 2 going into Shrek 3 is how I can kind of explain it. Like, Legends Arceus ZA was probably like Shrek 3, while Legends of Arceus, the first game, is Shrek 2, you know? Like, it's hard to explain, but it's like a flop. It's a flop sequel. So, played the game like 2 weeks. I remember playing Genshin for a good bit, but didn't stop. The VS world started growing more. Yeah. And like the fact that it has a day one DLC, it makes me feel like this Pokemon game is literally just a cash grab, especially because they lock a lot of Mega Evolutions behind a paywall, even though they showed off those Mega Evolutions in the game trailer. So that's also something I kind of have a problem with the game about. We were comparing about like graphics, and is the Switch a weak console? Like, is it weaker than the DS? Like, it has, I feel like now more than ever it has to be brought up, especially in like the Pokemon community, because Pokemon games on the DS look way better than Pokemon games on the Switch. So it needs to like if it's not weaker, why is the excuse because it's a Pokemon game, which is why it looks like crap? Pokemon games have not looked like crap. To say Pokemon games have always looked like bad is you are a Pokemon fan from Sword and Shield up, when Pokemon did look bad. You know? Because Pokemon games have always been innovative. I think of the remake of Heart Gold, Soul Silver, where it redid all the animations, it redid like the pixel animations, it introduced more to that game after content, like, and then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, which is one of my favorite Pokemon games, which reinvented everything about Ruby and Sapphire. So to say that like Pokemon games have always been crap, you either have only played Gen 1 and thought every Pokemon game after is just a carbon copy of Gen 1, which is not true, or 2, you're just defending a $1 trillion company for no reason. And that's why I haven't bought it. Like, I'm not... And I got Scarlet and Violet, and I played Scarlet and Violet, and I do like Scarlet and Violet. You know? I don't think it's good. I think it's a little bit better than Sword and Shield, but Sword and Shield I'd put in like F tier. So the fact that it's like D tier, and I say it's slightly enjoyable, even though it takes away everything that I enjoyed and made a lot of interactions with Pokemon worse, it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating. And now I'm ranting about it again. But I feel like you guys get the idea for the most part. But I could go on and on about it, but it's really just disappointing. Like the low effort, I wouldn't mind. I would be still mad if they think the same amount of quality. Sorry, let me rephrase what I'm about to say. I wouldn't mind so much if the other games under Nintendo's umbrella were also treated the same way as Pokemon, but it's clearly not. It's like clearly they aren't putting any effort into any of the Pokemon games anymore because the quality is just not there. And sure, some game mechanics are fun, and you can turn a blind eye to quality if the mechanics are fun and the exploration is fun. Games I think about like this, where the graphics aren't the best, but the gameplay is fun and the quality is alright, is like games like an indie game like Atlas or Lethal Company, or like those kind of indie games. Their mechanics are very simple, the gameplay is replayable and fun. The only difference is those games are made by like small groups and not a $1 trillion company with like endless backers and can do better, but chooses not to. That's just my problem with it. So, sorry. Like, I just, it makes me very sad. It like upsets me a lot that like this is the excuse. And like I don't want my Pokemon games being broken down, especially like how they're doing day one DLCs and they're splitting the games up into thirds and making you pay for them when like back in Heart Gold Soul Silver, you could go to Kanto, you could go to, and that wasn't a paid DLC, that was just included in the game. So it's like I don't know where people are getting like this like excuse that is it just, it's just that they just don't want to do that, and that's fine or whatever. It's really not, but it's fine if you agree with them that it's like they, you know, they need to make their bank. But games have always and should always have been art and creativity over hard business practices, because that's what games were when they started out. It was basically art, you know. It's like how movies are art, you know. And it just, seeing Pokemon Legends EA really bummed me out, because it's just like there's no passion. You can tell. It's just, it feels like a lot of those people that worked on it are like begruntled old employees that don't want to like do their job or have a passion to make anything that creative. It's like I explained like how it's like modern Star Wars, where they just get people that don't like the franchise to make stuff for the franchise, and that's kind of what it feels like. So that's just basically just where I've had my major problems with it. Hi, Jen! It's so good to see you, Jen. Hello. Let me shout you out, Jen. My small rant is over. And Ari, I'm not trying to take away your enjoyment of the game. If you are enjoying the game, that's cool. But you should ask yourself, like, the question is, like, am I content with how the progress of, like, your favorite franchise is going? Are you content with it? Because you can enjoy something and still disagree with it, you know?